going on, guys? Welcome back to episode 9 of Free Fall Podcast. I am your host, Brandon Smith. It's my good friend and co-host, Josh Chapman here. We got 2 cameras today, like I said, so I'm really excited to see how that looks post-production, but we're going to dive right into it today. For those of you that are new to the podcast and haven't seen the podcast before, I am known as B. Smith Flex on social media. I own a fitness personal training company. It's a customized personal training company named Team Flex. It's a fitness brand. We sell some clothing and stuff. That's kind of what I do. I'm heavily into entrepreneurship, self-improvement. The theme of the podcast is a self-improvement podcast. So that's kind of the route we're going. We're going to be talking about current events today. I've kind of been getting into that lately. And I wanted to dive right into it and kind of explain why I'm going towards that route instead of more so the interviews, which I will plan on doing in the future. But the reason I'm focusing on current events, and I'm gonna introduce you to my co-host here in a second. But the reason I want you guys to understand why it's important is because the state of the world affects you. It does affect you. What's going on in the world matters. I don't think people really realize that like what's going on in the world actually affects you directly, even if you don't want to believe it. That is how it works. So that's why I think it's important. I just want to get that off my chest. But we're doing something a little different today. We're actually live on Instagram. So if you want to check that out next episode, because obviously you won't be able to see it now, but we'll be doing that every time before our podcast, and we're gonna be taking questions. So I have a couple questions today from people that have been in the Instagram live. So kind of mixing up a little, make it a little more interactive and exciting. But I'm going to pass it over here to my friend and my good friend and co-host, Josh Chapman, and let him kind of introduce himself.
Hey, how's it going? My name's Josh. I am a good friend of Brandon's. He's a good friend of mine. I actually met him working with him, and we've grown to talk about different topics over time, and found out that we actually end up going back and forth talking about the topics that we're both interested in. So that's how I ended up here. I'm also a big believer in self-improvement as well. I personally have been through a lot of hard times in my past, and a big step in my life to actually help my mental health was moving to North Carolina. So I've been here for about 5 years. Had a lot of stuff going on.
And speaking of the mental health, not to interrupt you or anything, but why don't you talk about you have a clothing brand?
Yes.
Why don't you talk about that? Because that kind of is the same thing we were talking about.
I'm working on a clothing brand. I'm definitely starting to focus on it more now than when I first came up with the idea. But it's called A-Wear, so it's a semicolon wear with semicolons like the symbol for mental health awareness, suicide prevention.
Cool.
So the concept behind it is to raise awareness for mental health, kind of remove the stigma from it, because
And you can see that if you want to show the camera, maybe.
Oh, yeah.
That's the logo. It's pretty dope.
That's not the logo. That's just the name, but the logo is on the back. So,
yeah.
I had the logo done.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's the logo, and then the wording.
Yeah, in the middle of it, it's a lotus inside like a head.
That's awesome.
That's kind of what it is.
That's pretty cool.
But yeah, I'm starting to focus on it more now. It's something I truly believe.
You don't really talk about it. I didn't even know you were into that. So you're definitely very humble. And guys, it's important to find like-minded people and people that are like good people and have in your circle. And like the fact, he literally told me that today. I knew he had a clothing brand, but just when he was explaining it, I just thought that was so cool. And it really is cool. You said one of the reasons you got to North Carolina, because you're from up north, just like I am,
right?
Had to do kind of with what you're talking about. So if you want to explain that.
Sure. So before I moved here, I was kind of like at a really dark point of my life, the lowest point of my life, right before I moved here. Kind of make it quick and simple.
Yeah.
I had a kid coming on the way. Started to get into real estate. Bought a house.
Yeah.
Like while I was at the end of getting my license for real estate.
Okay.
So bought a house, bought a foreclosure, working on fixing it up. Some stuff happened between me and my ex at the time. Okay. And we ended up splitting up, and she kind of like severed all ties with me.
Life happens, yeah.
Right. And it wasn't like anything like drastic I did or anything. It's just we just didn't see eye to eye.
Sometimes that happens.
And so that took a very heavy toll on me
Mm-hmm.
because I felt like I was trying to build a lot of stuff up for us to be like
You
happy
were trying to
together,
create
you know what I
this
mean?
life, and then it
Right,
just like
right,
was
right.
the rug was swept underneath you.
Right. So that took a heavy toll on me. And not saying that I'm perfect. I definitely had my flaws too. You know
As
what I
we all
mean?
do, yeah.
Right. So I wasn't a perfect human being by any means, but yeah. And then she went into labor, didn't tell me about it. I found out from actually a mutual friend.
Okay.
Went to the hospital. She refused to let me in see my son,
Mm-hmm.
and basically that took a whole heavy toll
Yeah.
on me. Eventually, I got to see him and stuff, but
Yeah.
so I went into deep depression,
Mhm.
stopped paying all my bills. You
Yeah.
know, I had like 10 credit cards, defaulted on,
Yeah.
on everything. I didn't work for like 8 months.
Damn.
And let my house go into foreclosure. And well, before I let my house go into foreclosure, I was literally laying in my bed every day, and it was just like, what am I gonna do? You know what I mean?
That like overwhelming sense of like I can't handle all this.
Yeah, and it's not even like when people talk about depression, people think like sadness.
Yeah.
But for me, I think my depression was the absence of like any emotion.
Yeah. You just
Like-
turned off.
Right.
Like
right,
a robot.
Right.
Mhm.
Exactly. Like
Yep.
a robot. Like you're kind of moving through day to day. Like you eat, you don't want to eat, you don't really care about anything.
Yep.
So towards the end of that, when I was like really, really on the edge, I contacted my parents, and I was like, you know, I gotta do something.
Mm-hmm.
So asked them to come stay back with them.
Yep.
Went and started staying with them a little bit, and actually went back to my old bartending job before that.
Mm-hmm.
So I basically went back and begged for my old job back. Cause
As I'm just listening to the story, and I'm just like, I've been in the same boat, not exactly the same situation, but it's just like I'm sure there's so many people with the same story that they don't talk about it. Like I didn't know this, you know?
yeah, it's not something I tell a lot of
Yeah,
people.
but like how many people, like hearing that other people, it's just kind of therapeutic. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like life is hard, and
It sucks,
I guarantee you, everyone, if they're being honest with themselves, listening to this, has been through something similar.
Absolutely. Like everybody goes through stuff, and you never know what like somebody's going through or what's through their head. So you gotta try to treat everyone like, you know, like you would want to treat yourself. It's
Yeah.
true. Like it's honestly like if I'm having a really rough day and I'm
Yeah.
going about my day, what's really gonna brighten my day up is someone just genuinely being kind to me as
Yep.
like a stranger for no reason.
It's hard.
And
It's
that's
hard
gonna
to
completely change my outlook on the whole day. You know
yeah.
what I
It's
mean?
hard to be that way though. Like when you have your own shit going on.
Right, right.
So that's the hard part. It's like, how do I get past feeling only for myself? You know, you got to get to a
Right.
certain point. So you got your bartending job back.
Right. So I got my bartending job back, and literally 2 weeks, maybe right after I got the job back, my car was repossessed. I was probably
course.
like, I don't know. I was at
Been
least
there,
6,
been
7
there,
months
done that.
behind, so,
Yep.
I've got all the notices in the mail. all the
What do you
phone
mean you're
calls.
taking my car?
I actually disconnected my phone service. So I went without phone service once I disconnected, I actually went without phone service for like 2 years.
Damn.
I was only using Wi-Fi, like
That's
a
crazy.
Text Now app, because I was so tired of all these debt collectors calling me like, nonstop every day.
That's
It
one way
was-
to get rid of them.
It was so crazy, man. And so yeah, my car gets repossessed.
Yeah.
At the same time, the same week that my car gets repossessed, I find out my parents that have been together for 27 years were getting divorced.
Mm-hmm.
So
So
I was
bam,
like-
bam, bam.
Right. So, and I'm living with them, and I'm like, I can't ask them for help. You know what
Yeah.
I mean, like, there's no way.
Okay, that's interesting. So you get hit with the. I've always said a lot when my back is against the wall is when I perform the best.
Right.
Not everybody is like that, but some people are. So how did
Well,
you handle all that?
sometimes you got to do what you got to do. So
Mm-hmm.
I think I needed, I want to say it was like almost $2,000 to get my car out. And I was like, I
a
could
lot.
have, yeah, right. And I could have, I'm not going to sit there and like post on Facebook and be like, hey, can you guys help me out? Because
Yeah, so what's the route you
everyone's
took?
going through their
Uh-huh.
own thing. So my little brother, he's in the Marines,
Mm-hmm.
and he lived down here in Jacksonville.
Nice.
And he had his first kid. He had his second one on the way. And I was like, this is literally like the only person.
Yeah.
I didn't want to ask him, but I
Yeah.
was like, I have to,
Yeah.
because I know that if anyone's going to help me, he's going to help me. You know
Family.
what I mean?
Mhm.
Right. So I call him, and I'm like, hey, this is the last thing I want to ask, but I need to get my car out. Like I can't keep my job if I can't drive 35 minutes to work every day. You know what I mean? So he's like, all right. He's like, I'll help you. But the only way I'll help you is if you move down here and you get away from all that's going on.
Changing your environment.
Right. He's like, you'll come down here, get a job, pay me back, and then that'll be that. And so I was like, at that time, I was like, man,
shell shock.
It's really a tough decision. So like, I was like, all right, let me think about it, and I'll call you back. He was like, okay. So I called a couple of my closest friends. I was like, what do I do?
Yeah.
And all of them told me, they were like, do it.
Do it. Yeah.
They're like, what do you got to lose? Like, go move down there. And it's so crazy that it's so scary to get up and go away from everything that you know.
Comfort zone.
Right. States away. You don't know anyone. Like I know my brother, but outside of that, I don't know anyone. So
yeah,
every person I'm going to meet, I have nothing to fall back on.
And let me piggyback off that for a second. And I didn't really plan on going this route, but I do want to say that one of the best methods for getting out of your current state of mind, everything, if you are struggling, is changing your environment. A lot of people don't understand this. It's like if you've been struggling for X amount of time and you really are trying, you're not like really, shooting yourself in the foot. Changing your environment is super, super beneficial.
Absolutely.
It's almost always beneficial. Changing your surroundings because you get a fresh start. No one knows who you are.
Probably the best possible thing that you can do. Yeah.
If you're listening right now, or if you end up listening in the future to this podcast, take away this. If you are struggling, change things up. It doesn't mean changing where you live necessarily. You don't have to move across the country. I did the same thing actually, and when I was a very similar story.
Yeah.
But I was struggling as well, and I packed up and moved. And sometimes that's your only option, and it didn't work out right away at all.
It's not guaranteed.
But it gave me that spark to like start trying,
to make
when you're not afraid to change your environment, you're not afraid to start a new job, you're not afraid to talk to new people, you're not starting to create a freaking podcast, like this.
Right.
When I started this, it was like very nerve-wracking. When I'm sitting here and I'm like financing stuff, and there's no guarantee that anyone's going to give a shit. That's a scary feeling.
Yeah.
But nobody ever started anything in life with a guarantee. No one ever became successful. No one ever became famous. No one ever became happy. Just it just happened. You have to go through these trials and tribulations and shit to get to the point where you have done something.
Yeah. And I'm a firm believer too that everything does happen for a reason.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And me coming down here now, looking back on it, I'm so glad I did it. I mean, it completely changed my life. It completely changed my outlook on life, how I view things.
Change the trajectory of your entire life.
Yeah, just things in general. I mean, life in general is so much more beautiful to me now than before. Before I didn't care about anything most of the time.
Getting out of that headspace is tough. Not everybody does it, and unfortunately, a lot of people, and this is a huge off topic, but they resort to bandages or they resort to pharmaceuticals, they resort to stuff like that.
Well, it's a way to alter how you feel. You want to get rid of that feeling. How else can you do that?
Is it an epidemic? When I was a police officer, I was CIT certified, and I got the stats on it. The mental health situation is out of control in this
really
country.
Bad.
It's out of control.
I think that mental health, if it was more focused on, it would make a way bigger impact on a lot of the deep issues that we have in our country.
Well, I think this is a perfect segue at this point now into the current events, because I want to talk about the people that are in control. Mm-hmm. And let me put on my tinfoil hat before I say this. The people that are in control, they don't want you to feel good. They don't want you to be happy. They don't want you to be thriving. They want you sick. They want you weak. They want you stupid. They want you ignorant.
I don't think that it's intentionally that they want you weak or sick, but I do believe it may not even be an individual person, but I think as a whole, they don't want you to be unified.
Yeah, they want, whatever you want to label it as, they want to keep their power. They want to keep they're greedy. This is when we're talking, when I say they, right? Because maybe some people don't get what I say this every episode. They is your government, your old wealth, your corporations, the people that really don't want you to rise up and take what they have.
Yeah.
Period. Point blank. And if people disagree with that, then I don't care. You're wrong.
No, I
that is
agree
how the
with you.
world works. And part of keeping people divided is through systematic racism. It's through all of these things that we consume and see in the media that's put in front of our faces every single day. And, pharmaceuticals, social media, all these things are a product of that, a means to control you. So it's important to understand what's happening, why it's happening. When I first started this podcast, the first thing I said was the state of the world does affect you. It does affect you, whether you realize it or not. And talking about it and sharing it, this is a podcast. Part of the reason is because I'm doing my duty to get out there and share information. It doesn't matter that people may not listen to it or find it interesting. I'm still getting out there and I'm sharing. And if everybody did this, if everybody, if more people did it, not everybody is going to be someone that wants to start a podcast. I get that.
Right.
But I think it just died. If people did it more often, then they wouldn't be able to get away with it, basically.
Right. Yeah.
And that is something we really need to focus on because, our children are going to be the ones that have to suffer from this. Not necessarily us right now, but like, they don't want you. They don't want you to be able to rise up. They don't want you healthy, smart. That's why they didn't talk about exercising during, the pandemic.
I mean, that's why my belief why we have there's more parties that exist than the Republican and Democrat.
Oh, 100%.
But now that it's basically two sides, how much more divided can you be?
Yeah.
They're
I mean,
two
we're not
sides
even
fighting
a,
each other all the
like,
time.
to add on that, we're not even really a democracy. Like the U.S. isn't. People say the United States is a democracy.
It's a representational democracy.
It's quote unquote a democratic republic. But if you really dive into it, we're not even there's a very little democratic influence. We're actually a republic, which means that we're governed by certain political parties and stuff. We don't have as much power as we're led to believe, unfortunately. And the means to change that whole system, they don't tell you how to do it, which is like going to Congress and stuff. But not to get too political.
If we were, just the one last point to add in there, if we were a true democracy, we would hold votes on every policy that passes.
Yeah, and we don't. We definitely don't. We have, but I'm going to kind of do something different. He's got the current events. He's got the list. I'm going to let him kind of guide through, and I'm going to add to the topic. It's kind of nice for me to not have to like go through everything today. Let's do before we get into the current events list that we have, I want to go over some of the things that people on the Instagram Live said today. There's two things. The first one, it kind of goes with what we're talking about. How do you feel about the Supreme Court denying the student loan? We kind of knew that was going to happen. Yeah. And that was a big voting thing for Biden. He was definitely using that as like and I knew what the hell was going to, everyone who has half a brain knew it was going to happen. It's going to get denied and then he's going to blame. But
here's the biggest thing about the student loan debt forgiveness. Somebody somewhere is going to have to pay for all that.
I don't think people understand.
Yeah.
People don't understand that.
Who's going to pay for it? Everybody. Yeah. So say, I don't know how to put this into more like a metaphor, so I'll just talk about it directly. So you go to school for 4 years and you take out a loan for, let's say it's $100,000. Okay. Now, the system of those loans and how they're set up, I believe, is predatory to say the least.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You're young, you're signing these agreements you're going to be paying for the rest of your life.
Yeah.
And it's literally going to be like a
boulder
on your back forever.
I went to 4 different schools, tons of student loans. Never even had a clue what the hell a student loan was.
Yeah.
Not to mention nobody taught me about finance or anything. But I was literally signing my life, like you said, my life away.
Yeah. And if they really want to make a change, that's where they should make the change from the actual agreements themselves.
But they're not going to do that.
Yeah, right.
Because they need people to be working in the rat race.
And then
it's all by design.
Going beyond that, you're forgiving these 100,000. Say you take $100,000 loan out.
Some people take a lot more out.
Right. And I've never had a student loan.
Yeah.
And a lot of people haven't. So now we're taking up all these student loans that everyone's ever taking, and we're now dividing them up beyond everyone and our children.
When people
and
have
our
$0 in their
great-grandchildren.
savings account as it is,
Right,
now they're
right.
getting hit with increased taxes.
Right. Where it's going to be paid by someone. It's going to be paid
Yeah.
by the taxpayer, and it's going to be paid by our kids and our great grandchildren and generations down below that until eventually it's paid. It's taking a problem and making it a bigger problem.
So going back to her comment, what is our opinion on it? So what is our synopsis on this Supreme Court denial of it? What do you think's going on with that?
I agree. I agree
Agree
with
with
it.
the Supreme Court deny it?
I agree with it. I
Okay.
mean, if you take a loan out, if I take a loan out for a car, I don't expect my
Yep.
car loan to be for
100%. I think that the Biden administration knew that was going to happen, and they want to point, not to get too political, but they want to point fingers at other people and say, oh, no, this is why this didn't happen. It wasn't a good idea in the first place. If you take money out, you got to be responsible for it. That's not a popular opinion, and that's coming from someone who has student loans right now himself. So that's just the problem is the actual student loans themselves.
I think it was a way to get a lot of people to align their views or align with him.
100%, but people aren't stupid. So,
Right.
Next topic, next question. This is totally, and I'm glad because honestly, I know dang well the audience is sick of the politics. we're not like, that's not going to be it's just been lately. I've been really ingrained with it. But, and I didn't realize I wasn't even talking about like fitness and like health. That's like me, right? Like B Smith Flex is Mr. Fitness guy. So I should probably start talking more about fitness, and I will on the podcast. I'm sorry, guys. I'm just new to this podcast stuff. But yeah, so one of the other things that they wanted to talk about, one of our viewers on the Instagram live today was wanted to hear our take on exercising in extreme heat for runners, and I just added athletes. And I think this is really, really important. So I'll just start off by saying I've been a personal trainer for 10 plus years. I've dabbled in some college courses. I have a whole bunch of training I've had mentor trainers. I know a lot about fitness, guys. So, and not just like how to, work out, like the actual, I'm very, very, very infatuated with like health. So let's put it that way. But I will say most people don't even understand the basic understanding that, hydration. All right, let's talk about hydration. And during these extremely hot times, like super hot outside in North Carolina, it's humid as shit.
That's so bad.
It's so bad, dude. But hydration all around the country is really bad. But you have to have electrolytes. You have to have sodium. People think just drinking water is how you stay hydrated. It's not how you stay hydrated. If you are a pro athlete, you are doing Pedialyte. You are doing electrolyte replacement. Saline, all that shit. If you are just drinking water and you're thirsty or you think that's going to hydrate you, especially the type of water you're drinking, it could be like not good water. And that's a whole new topic. But you need to ingest sodium. If you are in the heat, if you are working out outside, if you are in a manual labor job, if you are sweating, you have to ingest sodium. These doctors that are on salt-restricted diets for elderly people, that's the reason they die every heat wave in major cities, because they're on a salt-restricted diet. It's something that people don't talk about, but it's very important. You guys have to ingest sodium. It's not your enemy. Sodium is not your enemy. Like this whole Western philosophy of like sodium's bad. It can be for certain health conditions, of course, but it's very essential to hydration of your body and balancing your body's temperature out. So you gotta have salt. If you're outside and you're working out, or if you're even in the gym, like, and you're just drinking water, you're not hydrating your muscles. You're not hydrating yourself. You have to, sports drinks are good. Sugar, again, we'll go on this next topic. Sugar. People like, oh, sugar's bad. It's not. It's bad if you're overeating sugar. But if you are about to work out, you want to have sugar. You can, if you are. It depends on what you're trying to do. But all these things that people label as bad, do your research, guys. Or listen to the podcast because I'll tell you all about it. But
like when you're dehydrated and you go to the doctor, what do they give you?
Yeah.
They give you a saline bag.
Yeah.
It's salt water.
Yeah.
That's what it is.
It's like, no. So to answer the question, extreme heat, salt. Get some salt in your system.
And water.
And water. Yeah. No, don't just eat salt cubes. People out here like, dude, I
dive into.
I only had salt. I had a bag of salt. No, water and salt. Well, not just salt. There's like a lot of different electrolytes, but electrolytes, sodium being the absolute main one. Most of the time you should use that. So as far as the current events, we'll go into the regular current events and talk about. I mean, you got the list, so I'll let you take the reign.
The next one was a quick hit back on the Supreme Court, if you're all right with that.
Yeah, for sure.
The affirmative action ruling.
Okay.
What is your opinion on that? I'll ask you first.
So refresh my memory again because my brain's going.
So affirmative action, it's basically how college admissions.
Oh yeah,
it's
yeah.
not just college admissions. It's
yep.
it's also based on financial aid.
Again, this isn't interesting to me because when the research I did on it, it doesn't make sense to me. Like,
right.
None of it really makes sense.
So, in my opinion, affirmative action, I mean, it's a form of discrimination because you're.
Yes. And that would be like the common consensus, but people are really upset about this.
Yeah.
Like, oh, I can't get special treatment into a college based on my race. It's like, no. And then I don't know. There's different demographics for each race. I'll just say it. If you are the best fit for the job or the best fit for the school, then you should get the admission. Period.
Regardless,
I don't care if you're a fucking alien.
Yeah.
I don't care if you're literally purple, green.
It doesn't matter if you're 65.
If you just take out all of the discrimination, then it's an easy answer. Like, you know, I mean, look at China, because I want to talk about this anyways. Yeah. I love just fucking pointing the finger at China. Chinese students, right? There's so many people in China, and China is a dictatorship, so they are totally different. They can do what they want. But over in China right now, the students are studying 18 hours a day just to get a chance to compete with the top other students. That is insane. There's so many people, and it's so competitive. These students, I mean, I wish I could show you guys the pictures. They are literally sitting at desks. They are falling asleep at their desks.
And their population's almost
three times what we have. It is also illegal in China to have a tutor at home to get. So they are strictly they're turning them into drones in AI. And we're over here complaining that we couldn't get special treatment into school. Like, we have no idea how good we have it. We have no idea how easy it is here. These children are depressed. They are enslaved mindset. They are competing they are literally awake 18 hours a day studying, and they go home to their dorms and they fall asleep and they wake up and they do it all over again. And they're doing that for a chance just to get an opportunity, a possibility. And most of them will not get an opportunity, and they're just wasting their whole. And we're sitting here like, so I guarantee you, if you are one of those people that is complaining about this, like, you don't understand the essence of, like, I don't care what race you are. If you are good, you'll beat somebody out.
Right.
Because colleges get paid grants based on their test scores and blah, 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 blah. Now, there obviously is a whole lot more to this, but just another, like, weird thing that people are focused on, like, that's totally meant to, like, distract you from, like, the problem. And the real problem is that people are not, we're losing the value of, like, outworking others, competing in, like, a healthy setting. And that's we're gonna see the after effects of this in the next 10 to 20 years when we as Americans aren't good at shit.
Right.
Like, we're just not as good at stuff as other countries who, like, understand the core ethics of hard work and competing and, like.
Well, if you ask any kid, I mean, the majority of those kids, when you ask them, what do you want to be when you grow up? What do you think they're gonna say? I want to be a YouTuber.
yeah.
That's so crazy.
Thing, yeah.
Because, I mean, that's all that they consume.
Have you seen that TikTok of the guy where did I show you where he comes in and he's like, what are you doing in here, son?
I don't think so.
And the kid's like, oh, I was just about to stream. He goes, oh yeah? He goes, okay. He goes, what were you searching up? And he, like, pulls it up. He's like, nothing. I was on Twitch. He's like, oh yeah? Check your search history. And he, like, pauses and he, like, goes to search history and clicks it, and he goes, What's the last thing? He goes, see, look. He goes, no, you scroll too fast. What's the last thing? And he clicks it. And it's like an NHL game.
Oh my god.
He's like, are you watching sports? He's like, I don't want to be a YouTuber when I grow up. And he's like, you're gonna be a streamer. And he makes him recite his streaming schedule. He's like, I don't want to be a hockey player. A what? And like it's just like a joke. But I thought it was genius because like that is literally where we're headed right now.
Yeah.
It's like so much emphasis. Like I would say 5 years ago, people were like, a Twitch streamer, you're crazy. But now, like, even Kick, like the new streaming platform, like I stream on Twitch, those of you that don't know. But it's trash. I might move to Kick, but
go follow.
Total waste of time. Yeah, follow me, by the way. It's great streams. But yeah, on Kick, I was reading an article about how they are literally going to pay $16 an hour to Kick streamers. Now, Kick is a platform, a rival platform. If those of you that don't follow the scene, Twitch is a streaming platform for people that do real life streams like this, or people that do gaming. It's mainly meant to be gaming, but it's owned by Amazon, and it's not a profitable organization, and they're really unfair to their creators, and it's way too saturated. So for a while there, Twitch was streaming online gambling, and then basically like predatorily like making people lose money on Twitch.
Twitch also pays their streamers the lowest.
Yeah, the lowest. Yeah,
of streamers.
Yeah,
and
so
Kick is paying much higher. Did you see that deal? Not to interrupt. Did you see that deal where they one of the biggest streamers?
XQC. The
like
100
20 million or something.
No, it was like 100 million for like
my God.
2 years. Yeah. So basically, Twitch banned online gambling, and a bunch of creators were pissed. And they went and these online gambling sites actually created their own platform with the same code as Twitch. Super sketchy. It's like looks like the same website. It's called Kick, and they're backed and funded by online gambling, which is like an endless supply of money. So they're just throwing money at creators, and people think they're going to be able to rival Twitch, but it's basically doing a good thing. It's making Twitch kind of backtrack and paying people the money that they should be getting paid. So it's a good thing. But yeah, I mean, it's real. It's here. People want content. A lot of people indulge themselves in video games and online entertainment. And what better platform where somebody's doing it 24/7 and it's live? It's a cool thing. If you've never really watched a live stream or watched anything of that, you should check it out. It's kind of cool. It's different. It's really weird too. Like people will donate money, and if you don't know about it, it's like really weird when you're watching it for the first time. But those of you that are aware of it, it's just like a way of life for some people. Some people they just sit at their computers all year long, year after year, and just play video games and make millions and millions and millions of dollars. It's pretty crazy.
Must be nice.
Yeah, but so it's kind of cool. But yeah, so what was the next topic?
We'll take a break from the politics for a minute.
Let's take a break from the politics.
That and we'll come back to it. Lab grown meat. Thoughts on?
I'm hungry now.
Grown meat.
Lab grown meat. I'm starving.
Have you ever had one of those?
Lab grown meat sandwiches?
Yes, that were official burgers.
No, I was joking.
The Impossible Burger.
What is it?
Impossible Burger from Burger King. You ever had that?
That's a lab grown meat burger?
Well, I think it's a soybean or something.
Oh, it's like a veggie burger.
It's a veggie burger, pretty much.
No, this is lab grown meat. Yeah. Like, am I correct? Like animals, lab grown animal meat? Is that what it is?
I believe.
I don't even know.
It's culture meat grown from real animal cells.
Oh my God, that sounds disgusting.
In restaurants in San Francisco and Washington, D.C.
What about New York? I heard New York.
I believe New York as well.
Yeah. Fucking weird, dude.
It's pretty crazy. I think it's gonna get to the point where you won't be able to tell the difference, though.
Oh, of course. I mean, that's the goal. But no, dude, it's not natural.
Well, think about how
cannot be good for us.
I think it's going to end up being something that's produced in such mass quantities. It's going to be cheaper because it is actually expensive to like raise cattle, Dude,
a lot of people say that they've been doing lab grown meat for a while now because like the sustainability of like how much food is like pumped out during
it's like so expensive, and it's so
this just doesn't make any sense. They're saying like there's no way they're creating this much actual meat. It's got to be coming from somewhere else, which I actually believe. Now to add to this, I myself included do not think people quite understand how large the world is, like space wise, like an area. Like the world's a big fucking place, dude. Like if you were to put 1 million people, like if you were to see 1 million people in one area, it would be like fucking mind
If
boggling.
you've ever been to a concert and you see 10,000 people, that
And it
seems
just looks like a sea of people.
That's insane. Yeah.
So there's
imagine
billions.
that times 100.
yeah. So there very well could be enough food, but it's weird. I don't know. I don't trust anything, dude. I need a tinfoil hat.
I mean,
I'm going to start wearing it. Next episode, I'm going to have a tinfoil hat on.
I definitely don't approve of. I'm not really a big fan of the FDA. I'll say that because I feel like
Any of them, dude. The WHO, the FDA, they're all just fucking.
I'm very
bad.
against. Which I mean,
the
I
FDA
feel like
is
I should
not
take it a
bad.
lot more seriously because I literally eat junk all the time. But,
Yeah, you actually suck.
yeah,
at that.
but I need to get a lot better about it. But
Yeah,
the FDA,
I'm gonna help you out with
dude, it's so crazy. Like they can be paid off to push
Yes, that's the problem.
products and drugs and approvals. It's
All about money.
insane,
It's all
and
about money. It
affects
all stems
millions and
back to
millions of
money.
people.
It's all about control and money.
Yeah.
And that's why it's so important to have these types of platforms to like talk about this shit. So it's like people there's a lot of people in the world that could sit there and be told everything like bold-faced how it is, and they're gonna be like, oh, okay, cool. Well, I'm going to McDonald's. It's like like you. I'm just calling you out. I'm just straight calling you.
Well,
no,
it's because I can go through the drive-through and I can.
No,
spend,
I'm just fucking fucking with you, dude.
Well, it's
but
more
no,
now.
some
It
people
used to
are
be $5.
really bad with it. Like they will be given the information and they'll just continue to do everything that they shouldn't.
Right.
But it's a lot of people, and it will catch up. But the thing is, they wouldn't do it if people didn't consume it.
Right.
So it is part of like the whole. It's like the whole like, you know, for those of you that are vegetarian, I'm not a vegetarian, but if you stop, you know, consuming animal products, they don't need to. They'll start making more vegetarian alternatives because they don't give a shit what you eat. If you eat mice, if you eat cattle, they don't care as long as you're paying them money.
I think
that's all they care about.
The future lab grown meat eventually, you know, maybe not.
I don't
10
think
years
people are
from
going to
now.
eat it. I hope not.
I think they will. I think.
You think so?
Yeah, absolutely. But it's going to take
So-
time. Right now,
If it's like
such a
half the
shocker.
cost, you know what I think they're doing? They're
It's
setting it
gonna
up to where
be
you can't afford real meat.
I think
The
it's gonna-
rich will eat real meat.
Exactly.
You will eat your lab grown meat and you will be happy with it.
Yeah.
And you will eat your bugs and worms.
Eventually, I think that like real meat will probably be expensive.
Imagine
It's
in
gonna
50
be very
years,
expensive.
you go over to your fucking rich friend's house and he's like, Mama, can we have the steak tonight? And you're like, is that real steak? And they're
Yeah.
like, and he's like, yeah,
Like,
we
if the
eat
kid
we eat
grows
real meat
up
all the time.
and he's like 15
He's like,
years
I've
old,
never
had
seen
a
real meat.
Yeah,
That's crazy. It's some sci-fi shit, some Black Mirror
I
stuff.
think it could be real though. I mean,
It's probably so accurate
it's
too.
quite possible because think about how resource intensive and how much it affects the climate for producing cattle, producing chickens.
Oh, yeah.
And if they can grow it in the lab and it doesn't affect the
Oh,
climate
so you're a
as
global
much.
warmist.
And well, no, I mean I believe in climate change, but
No,
I think it's
it
a lot
definitely-
more complicated than just global warming.
Well, also
or-
let's take that out of it. Let's look at the humanitarian side of like how these animals are like just viciously slaughtered and like the stuff that they have to go through. It's like not
it's an
okay.
assembly line.
It's not okay.
It's literally like
It's just not okay.
it's an assembly line. Imagine like Apple, okay, and they're putting phone after phone after phone down the assembly line, but in
Dude, but the way they harvest the lithium batteries.
It's a cow. It's a cow.
Dude,
it's a
look at the
chicken.
way like the flack that Elon took. Like these companies, like everything has a price, right?
Mm.
The way they farm, is it the lithium in the batteries?
The lithium.
Yeah, so,
and
like,
there's
children are like-
cobalt.
Cobalt,
I
that's what it
think.
was.
Yeah, cobalt.
But like the way they farm these materials to make them so insanely cheap, so they can mark it up 50,000%. You know, after their $50 iPhone cost to make, and
it's
they sell
like
it
the
to you
blood
for.
diamonds, dude.
Dude, it's crazy, but people don't know about this.
Cobalt and lithium is the
Well,
new.
so I don't even know
diamond.
why I'm talking about this. I'm just gonna get shadow banned. The podcast is over, guys. Thanks for watching. We're shadow banned. We're gonna get about 6 views from now on.
But it's so true. Did you ever see that video of the conditions in one of Apple? I believe it was Apple or Tesla's
Yes,
cobalt mines.
it was Tesla.
Conditions were terrible.
Dude, there was
It's
kids
so
dying
bad.
every day.
Yeah,
Every day.
it's literally blood
And they don't care.
diamonds all over again.
They don't care.
It's the same thing.
They're like, because they're getting like money for it, and like if they don't do this, then they all die because
Yeah.
there's just people
also
don't understand
in
how
that
hard it
country
is.
that their opportunities are so low that they also want to do this because they think I'm going to make so much more money off of this than I can do anything else in my country.
Money's a scary thing,
but
man,
the
because
conditions are so bad.
It'll make people do crazy.
Die.
Yeah, it'll make people do crazy shit.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's insane. But
so
we can go.
I love the fact that you're just also dark with everything. It's just gonna be a dark podcast.
Oh, dude, we can go back and forth. I'll literally talk about anything.
Stop.
Like,
I gotta stop.
Care.
All right, let's talk about something
So we
happened.
talked a little bit about that.
I just wanted to hit the air horn.
World Health Organization. We briefly mentioned on that, but we'll go back to it again. You were talking about something before we started the podcast about the bugs.
Bugs.
You want to go into that a little bit more? Because
No,
I don't know anything about this, so you could
okay. So there's ad campaigns in the World Health Organization, I believe. You know, if you don't know anything about the WHO, they're just not, and they don't have your best interest in heart. So leave it at that. But basically, the campaign of like trying to make it cool, like eating bugs, like the rich and powerful, like the global elites, like they want you sick, dumb, stupid. I know you said they don't want you. Like I disagree. I think that they do. I think there's a lot of evil in the world, and it's our duty to like oppose it, not without being too like
No, I
serious
mean,
about it.
I don't disagree with you. I just think that their main influence or their main
Is money.
point. Well, yeah, that. But their main intention in order to keep that status is division. So any ways that they can cause division, they don't really care how that.
But the division to do what? To control you, and like once they divide you, what are they doing? They're not dividing you to like give you a great life. They're dividing you
us so that we don't unite and throw the over.
Yeah,
of them, you know
but
what I mean?
also after division, like that's what I'm saying. Like you can divide people and they can still like thrive, and they're dividing us, and then on top of that, but they're also dividing us with these methods. It goes hand in hand. I think we're saying the same thing basically.
Right.
They're trying to divide us and keep us weak, and definitely keeping us ignorant as we can, so that we don't learn about how to not live in this kind of state. But yeah. So about the bugs, yeah, they like, and you can go and like fact check me if you want. I hope, dude. I really hope.
Looking it up, I see.
No, I'm not talking about you. I'm talking about like the audience. I hope that people literally try to fact check me when I say shit like this. I hope that people go back in these previous episodes, because I don't be bullshitting, and this shit actually exists, and it's actually crazy. There's like ad campaigns about like eating like worm burgers and shit, and like they got like celebrities like eating them, like like they're trying to push it, and it's just not gonna work because people aren't that stupid. But it's scary what they're trying to push.
Then again, there's people out there that will literally do anything that a celebrity does.
That, and also the fact that if you look at all the other countries, like specifically third world countries, they like very heavily consume bugs. That's like a huge part of their diet. It's great in protein. I don't know, man. It's fucking gross to me. And maybe in 100 years, like it will be like a normal thing, but like I ain't eating any bugs. Dude, I hate bugs, actually. They're gross, dude. I'm not like a manly man. I'm not like dude, no, I don't fuck with
Spiders
bugs.
are my number one fear.
Dude, they're gross. They're weird. There's like a natural instinct. I think humans are inherently grossed out by bugs because they're like dangerous. They carry diseases and they're like not good for you.
Yeah.
Like people are scared of spiders because there's some spiders that will bite you and they will mess you up.
Yeah, dude, I got bit by a spider right here when I was like 14, and I had a giant
Necrosis.
Yeah, like this big.
It'll just eat your fucking
eating
whole
my
arm
skin
off,
away.
dude.
Dude, I had to treat
crazy.
it like
a little spider.
Yeah, little bitty.
That's crazy.
Some of them
There's
can
some
kill
animals
you.
out there. They're not playing around.
Some of those spiders can kill you. It's crazy.
It is pretty crazy. All right, next topic. Let's dive into something else. What else we got?
Yeah. Let's see here. We can route back a little bit. Let's talk about France.
France.
France. Do you know anything about the riots that started? Well, there's new riots going on right now, but the riots that started back in, I believe, February or March.
The basic synopsis of it was that they were rioting because they increased, and I'm sure this is some level of truth, that they increased the retirement age. But then later they were like saying that was a cover-up story, that the real reason they were rioting is because they were rushing the BlackRock headquarters. And if you guys don't know this already, BlackRock and Vanguard own every single company in the world. They own everything.
A large majority.
Obviously I'm exaggerating a little bit, but yeah, they own everything. So, and they're the reasons that you guys are poor and weak and sick. But
They have
they
their
were
hands in pretty much
they were-
everything that
yes.
means something.
and they were rushing the headquarters and basically like starting the next French Revolutionary War, and it's pretty cool. Props to him. Thank you, French, for doing that.
What I think is so crazy about it is whenever the riots were going on back in March, this is around the same time that it was hitting the news about the TikTok ban.
Mm-hmm.
So what's crazy is the only way I even knew about
Of course.
the riots in France was on TikTok. Because
Isn't
if
that
you,
so weird?
Yes. So if
How
you,
much
at
info
the
you get
same
from
time-
TikTok?
Yeah,
Oh
I was
my
going
God.
on YouTube, on Facebook, looking up riots in France in March and could not find anything.
Really?
Or you had to like dig very deep, like pages and pages back to find actually what's
Kinda
like
scary.
the same videos that you see on TikTok on the homepage.
Yeah.
And I mean, cities burning, you know what I mean? Eiffel Towers in the background, and there's cars and garages on fire, you know what I mean? It's insane.
Insane.
And but why was that not in any of our news? Is it because it's another country, it's not important to us, or
They
are
don't want you to know.
they want us to be inspired by it?
Yeah, right.
And now when I go to Google today and I look up riots in France, it's all about the most recent topic. I cannot find anything like without digging deep.
Even that going off that, when I was looking up for the last podcast, I was trying to look up the crew for the Titanic submersible, and you couldn't find it. You couldn't find a list of the crew, and the only ones you could find were like back behind like paid walls and stuff. And I was just like, I'm pretty sure people are looking up this, and they just didn't want you to know.
Yeah.
It's very strange.
Well, Google
things they try to
definitely
hide.
can edit what your search
Oh,
results
100%. We already know
Yeah.
that. But like, why? What's the point of that? And you got to ask yourself, when you can't find something very easily, there's a reason for it.
Absolutely. You remember how back when we were growing up and we would look up like conspiracy videos and stuff, and there were a dime a dozen all over the place?
Yep.
Now you try to look up 9/11 conspiracy, you
Really?
cannot find.
See, I don't really be
You
looking.
can find videos on it, but it's not. So the
not
same
common.
video that used to be number one, whenever I would search it up back in, I don't know, 2009,
Yeah.
2010, something like that, is I have to specifically type in the title and put like it needs to have every word in that title
like
as a
the
search.
criteria.
Right. And in order to find that video, otherwise it doesn't pop up.
That's crazy.
It's all drowned out by other things. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, they definitely try to bury. They've done it forever. They're trying to bury history, but that's how you don't let history repeat itself. As you know what happened.
Yeah.
But yeah. So like I said, guys, and I know some of you that are like just like new to the podcast, or people that are kind of like, what is he exactly doing? He's just complaining about stuff. It's like, no, this is important to talk about, and that's exactly how it sounds. Like, yes, we're talking about current events, we're talking about things that aren't okay in the world to bring light to it, but it's interesting shit to me, and to me it's interesting.
Yeah.
And it needs to be
History.
talked about. And that's how you prevent like history repeating itself, is like talking about this stuff. But it does matter. Like if you are like most people complaining that, you know, everything's expensive and cost of living's high, it's like, these are the reasons why. These are the reasons why that everything is the way it is, and everything is unaffordable, and people are broke. And on the other end of this podcast, the other thing I do is I try to explain how to get out of the rat race, how to get out of the matrix, or whatever you want to call it, to beat out the people that are trying to hold you back, because you can do it. There are people out there that are making $1 million a day selling fucking random shit on eBay. Like, it actually happens, and they don't want you to know this. They don't want to talk about it, but there are people out there doing that. And how did they get there? I promise you they didn't get there by being closed-minded. I promise you they didn't get there by not reading and consuming podcasts and watching YouTube videos and doing all the things that is necessary for you to grow your knowledge base so that you can do new things. One of the things that I really have been trying to do lately, and I will admit, I'm not somebody who likes to read books at all. I actually probably have not read a lot of books.
I don't either.
A lot of people don't read books. It's really
I'm
boring.
getting more into it recently.
But I have been reading books lately because some books have really good information, and it's okay. And I was actually listening to Alex Hormozi. I've been watching a lot of his content. You can check him on YouTube. He's like, it's pretty cool, dude. But he was talking about how he doesn't really like to read either, but he'll get a book. He buys a lot of books, and I buy a lot of books, and he'll skim them and to see if they're worth reading. And I was like, dang, that's really cool, because I kind of do the same thing.
Yeah.
But if you don't like reading and you are in an entrepreneurial state and you want to create a business or create a clothing brand or just make money, like most people do, or hopefully most people do, you don't have to be a millionaire to be like financially stable. You can literally make, a couple $10,000 or $20,000 a year to some people, like selling random shit on eBay can change your life. Like can literally make you like going from having anxiety every single day when you wake up to like living comfortably and enjoying your life. Like it doesn't have to be, this isn't just for like the next millionaire. But yeah, I think that people need to like indulge more in like trying to gain more of a knowledge base. And part of that is a lost art is reading. But I've been reading some books, and if you don't like reading, you can skim over them, but you should probably try to read or at least watch podcast or YouTube videos and stuff, because there's some really freaking good information out there. And if you are stuck in a current situation where you're not happy financially, the fastest way to get out of it is to learn. Period.
Yeah.
It's not rocket
the
science.
Internet's a really powerful tool too now. I mean, when we were growing up, we didn't have it as strong as we do now. But you can literally learn how to do anything online.
Information highway.
If you don't know how to change the brakes on your car, you can go to YouTube, look it up, learn how to do it.
I'm not going to go to YouTube. I'm going to have you go to YouTube and do it for me.
I'm saying you can learn how to do it. It'll walk you through step by step. It's
so
crazy.
You're really into cars. How did you learn about cars?
Just by doing it, just like anything else.
You didn't go to like mechanic school or nothing?
No, I actually got accepted into a technical school in high school, Lincoln Tech in Columbia, Maryland. So I was going to go to that. It's a technical, so college right outside of high school. It was like, I forget how much it was, but it was, I think tuition and everything altogether was like $33,000 a year. It's kind of expensive.
Yeah, it's a little pricey.
But I was going to go there and then get my certification through them through high performance. Ended up not going. I had a lot of stuff going on my senior year of high school. But I was going to do it. But that's how I got into it. I was really interested. I always liked cars.
Did you do like the YouTube videos or you just like grandpa helped you out?
Yeah,
you look it up?
I would try to look up. So there's repair manuals for every car.
Okay.
So I would try to look up like a PDF. I would try to like pirate like a PDF online and download
old school
it.
Shit.
Yeah.
Dang.
So I would download the PDF of the whole book and I would go through it. It'll walk you step by step.
You got to have a certain type of mind for that though.
Yeah,
I don't think I could do that.
If you can turn a wrench and you can read a book,
If you can dodge a wrench, you can turn a wrench and fix your car.
No, it's true though. I mean, working on cars, it's not hard. It's just starting, just like anything else, is the hardest part.
For sure.
You know what I mean?
I'll kind of piggyback off that. For me, like something similar that I did that was like a big thing for me was when I created Team Flex Fitness, the brand, and I'll explain. I should probably do a podcast on that sometime. But basically, I was not working currently, and I wanted to. I was very early into like the entrepreneur stage, and I was like, oh, why work when you can just fucking sell stuff online? It's as easy as that. All I gotta do is create a website and then just like drop ship stuff.
That's
like
a lot that goes into it.
There's so much more. But I do the drop shipping now and everything. But when I was creating my website, I wasn't creating the website, but more so designing it and then doing the SEO optimization and all that stuff.
Maybe I can pay you to help me create a website.
And I do. I do it for people. But there was a point in my life when I was doing all this and learning about, and this is like, take somebody who knows nothing about dropshipping, nothing about money, nothing about websites, nothing about branding, nothing about marketing, nothing about anything. Like doesn't know what Fiverr is, doesn't know what Canva is. Like take someone who doesn't know any of this. Hopefully you guys know about some of that stuff, but I knew nothing about it, and I knew I wanted to sell customized training online because I was getting hit up on social media, and I was like sending them like Word documents like typed out, and it was very janky, but I just decided I was going to learn how to do it. And I woke up at like 8 in the morning, 7 in the morning, and from like literally working until 2 a.m., 3 a.m. on YouTube, just watching YouTube videos on how to do this shit.
Same
thing. And people don't get that. They're like, well, you got lucky. It's like, no, dude, I didn't get lucky. I didn't just create this awesome website that I get a lot of compliments for, that I make money passively. I'm sort of passively. I still have to make the content, but I had to learn how to do that. Yeah. And roughly, if you want to become good at something, it takes about 20 hours of work when they say the measurement is 20 hours of work and you get about 80% of the knowledge base, the base standard knowledge of that
probably
subject.
did like 40 hours of research into mine
Yeah.
before I even started it.
But it was just like mindless freaking just grind. I wanted it so bad. And if you guys don't have that work ethic or that attention or that focus, and you want to be an entrepreneur or you want to like do something and create money, that is the first step. It's not even like everything that you need to learn about where the dollar comes from. You need to learn about so freaking much more. I'm not even fully like understanding of everything, but it is a journey and it's a process. And that's that's the basis. Like you have to like want it so bad. It's kind of like going back to the Chinese students working out or studying for 18 hours a day. Like that's like the standard. There's so many people on planet Earth. You don't have the luxury of sitting back and just like, oh, I want this. It's like, how bad do you want? Well, I really want it. Like, okay, well, that guy wants it more than you do. Well, I want it more than him. Okay, then prove it.
And people will put in effort for like, say, I don't know, months or even a year, and then they don't get the results that they
give up.
want, and they stop. But they don't realize that where you're going, you're gonna get there. It's gonna take longer than you expect. People want to have an overnight success, and it
doesn't exist. There is no such thing as overnight success. And the people that were overnight successes, like the viral people, they got lucky, and it always goes away. Nobody gives a shit that you had a viral video or that you were outlandish and you
Island Boys.
Dude, I literally was thinking of the Island Boys when I was saying that.
I'm an island boy. I'm just trying to make.
Oh, those guys are such a joke.
Oh my God.
Just imagine being that guy. Like, you don't want to be an island boy, right?
Dude,
like, they got a lot of money and shit, but you don't want to be them.
I'd be embarrassed.
They are embarrassing. Like, they embarrass themselves because they got too famous. They didn't. Yeah, dude.
I'd be embarrassed.
It takes time to develop anything, and just even if you don't want to be an entrepreneur, you don't want to make money. You're like, oh, none of this matters to me. I love my family. If you want to be a good person, it takes time. It takes effort to be a good person. You may think you're a good person because you don't piss anyone off. You don't like ruffle any feathers. You're just living your life. That doesn't mean you're a good person. Like just existing and like going through the motions and like not causing any problems is not a good person. You can be doing so much more in life. Like the world needs people to step up and be the best version of themselves. That's how we're going to collectively become better people on this planet. I mean, that's just like a whole deeper thing.
So you know J. Cole? You like J. Cole?
Yeah.
So I've seen a lot of interviews with J. Cole and going back to like how there's not overnight success, and if there is, you don't want it. He even says that. He's like, if you could have overnight success, if someone came up to you and said, tomorrow you're going to be worth $5 million. You don't want it like that, because he says the most important part about being there
100%.
is getting there, and that every step that you've taken along the way. And he's worked, and he said, sometimes I thought about quitting, but I've worked day in, day out, day in, day out. And that's how I've gotten.
Here's a crazy concept. And I tell people this and they call me crazy, and maybe I am crazy, but in my mind, I don't play the lottery, and it's not because I don't want to win. It's because I don't want to win, if you know what I mean.
It would ruin your...
I've worked... My whole existence is like being me and getting to the best version of myself, being that, super successful. Like I made it. Like it's like a challenge to me. And if someone were to throw a bunch of money at me, like an inheritance or a lottery, I would feel like I got cheated out of like the journey there. Yeah. And it would be like the worst thing that could happen to me. And some people are like, dude, are you fucking crazy?
What would you do with it though?
It would like
if I do 20 million, what would you do?
I'd turn it into 20 billion.
Yeah.
I would scale that shit.
Yeah.
So now I understand that, but like the basis like mindset for me is I want to do it myself.
Yeah.
I don't want you to give it to me, and like I want to go from knowing nothing to knowing everything and be like, I did it myself. Now, granted, that's not me doing it myself. That's me having mentors. That's me networking. That's me learning. But essentially, it's something I did.
Self-growth.
Yeah.
You become the person that you want to
be. And
as
a man, you should want to follow that journey. You should want to do everything yourself. You should want to embrace pain and embrace uncomfortability and embrace hardship, because you know it's going to make you a better person, not run away from it.
Right.
Like a lot of people want to, that doesn't make me feel good. It makes me feel uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Grow
That's
up,
that's a
you
big
fucking bitch.
That's a big problem in today's world. There's a lot of people
It's so
that just
annoying. It's
complain.
so prevalent too.
And like, why complain? Just do something about
Just
it or shut up.
Yeah, just do what you need to do and embrace those hardships. And if you don't go through hardships, you're gonna be weak. You don't want to be weak, and because when you're weak, people take advantage of you. And whether it's the world or your friends or family, like you gotta go through hard stuff to become the best version of yourself. There's no other way around it. That's just how it works. That's how life works.
Yeah.
You want to get big, you want in the gym, you want to get buff, you got to go break down your muscles every single day, day after day, and become stronger. You want to get smarter, you got to study, you got to go, learn stuff. And that's not fun to do. I don't know anyone who I love studying. I love reading books.
It's starting the routine. It's starting the path. It's not going to be one step and you're there. It's going to be hundreds and hundreds of steps. And you just got to slowly take that. And that's another thing about, self-improvement and mental health. If you're feeling like you're in a real dark place or you don't know how to get out, you don't need to jump out. You know what I mean? You just need to take a small step. That's all you need to do. You need to get up, maybe take a shower every day and dress good. You know what I mean? Where you can look in the mirror and be like,
self-respect and mental health are very closely tied.
Yeah.
And I think people don't really realize that. And this come from somebody who didn't really realize that himself, had mental health issues. The sooner you can learn to love yourself / respect yourself, the sooner that you're going to feel a lot better about everything.
Right.
Because it starts from within, and unfortunately, a lot of these people were never taught how to do that.
Yeah.
And they've never, like I said all the time, there's some people out there who have never even been the words "I love you." They've never been hugged.
Parenting.
They've just been deprived of these very essential things, and you can't even blame the parents because they didn't get it, and then their parents didn't. I mean, it's just it's
a trickle down.
It's a trickle down effect, and that's why it's really important to be a good person and just because you never know, that kind gesture during the day that might change somebody's trajectory of their life. Maybe they were really down on themselves and were going to do something, and you were nice to them, and they kind of they second guessed it.
Yeah.
And there was, that could have saved their life. It does work like that. I know it sounds cliche and cheesy, but it really does work like that.
When I was at my lowest point, it was the little things and the little kindness that people showed me that really, really changed me and helped me.
Even me to this day, I'm pretty confident and happy. I've learned to love myself. I've gone through a lot. I'm in a very good headspace. But sometimes I'll get down on myself, when it comes to, creating content or the podcast or just things in life. And just saying a little compliment, when I'm doing something, dude, sometimes somebody will say the stupidest shit to me, like a compliment, like a cheesy compliment. Yeah. And I'm just dude, I'm playing it cool. I'm like, hey, appreciate it, man. But in my mind, I'm like, holy fuck, dude. Yeah. That's all. I'm so proud of myself. And imagine you say something to somebody and they're really doubting themselves and you say something to them and they're just they're just so happy. You don't that's awesome to be that way. And some people really need that. And they might give up on themselves.
And guys get it the least out of
guys.
There's someone was saying, I heard it on a video the other day. They were saying the only times that man will receive flowers is at death, and what was the other one? There was either maybe at birth or at death.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah.
Or the wedding and then death or something like that.
Yeah.
So you heard it here first, girls. Get your guys some flowers. That's the whole point of the podcast. That's everything leading up to that point. All right, so we're at an hour. I think we've covered a lot. I don't want to do too much today. It's a little bit longer than I wanted to go, but I think it was fucking awesome, dude. I think it was.
I'm really happy to be here. I like what you got.
Appreciate
going
you
on, man.
getting on and sharing some of your stories with us, and just kind of talking about mental health and your clothing brand, Aware. I think that's freaking awesome.
Thanks.
So do you have a link for it, or do you have anything set up yet? Or I can help you out with that.
Website.
Okay,
if you
I'll help you out with that.
With the website, that'd be great. I'm actually when I first started the idea of it, it was a little over a year ago, and I never dived deep into it.
Most people.
Right. I made my first order, made the sales, and then got consumed by life, and then stopped and never got back into it. And
a lot of people's story.
Right. And now I'm getting way more into it, and I'm about to buy my own screen print. So all of my orders were actually done by a company. I'm going to be doing it myself. So it's going to be
That's awesome.
Made in North Carolina.
Cool.
And
cool.
then
So we'll get you a website and
Yeah.
get you a link, and we'll
Yeah.
put it in the description down below. It'll be in the description now. He's gonna be like a regular co-host from now on, because we, our schedules work out that ways, and I think it's a good fit. So let me know if you guys like the style. It's a little bit longer. We're gonna also be making clips. We're gonna be kind of making it more to fit the algorithm. I'm actually kind of taking it serious now. So, and I actually love doing it. I just love sitting up here, and I just love hearing myself talk. That's it. That's it, guys. That's why we have the podcast. I want to hear myself talk. No.
Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, no, thank you again. Yeah, so we'll have that in the description. There was something else I wanted to say, but I literally can't remember now. But yeah.
I think we hit pretty much most of the points.
Yeah, spam comments down in the videos.
About topics for the next video.
Yeah, topics for next video. So yeah, that's what it was. That's probably what it was. So we're gonna be doing an Instagram live, and we actually kept it going this whole time. But probably in the future we're gonna be doing Instagram live before the podcast. So if you want to follow me / the podcast, it's bsmithflex on Instagram. I'll be doing an Instagram video most likely. And if you follow any questions you have, we did 2 questions today from the Instagram live. If you have any questions, just pop on in, ask the question, and we'll ask it on the podcast. So it's a good way to really interact. And if you really want to hear something without, emailing me or whatever, that's a good way to do it real quick. That being said, also, so we're going to be doing that. And if you guys can do me a favor and share the podcast with your friends, family, spam it, go like and subscribe and comment down below, all that good stuff. You guys know how to grow the podcast. Please do that. It really helps the podcast out a lot. It helps me. And, I just think it's awesome if you guys were to do that, because then we could do better content, get some guests on here, and just kind of create a different atmosphere. So thank you so much, guys, for tuning in. Those of you that are new, welcome, and I hope you enjoyed the podcast. If you did make it this far, which I probably guarantee most of you won't at this point, you're actually a true hero, and I love you with all my heart. Thank you so much. But other than that, we are going to end it here. Is there anything else you want to throw in before we go?
No, just like and subscribe. That's all I
Like and
gotta say.
subscribe, baby. All right, guys. Thank you so much for hanging out, and I will see you in next episode. Peace.